What is solo poly? So I'm so happy to answer this question. Solo polyamory is a version of polyamory wherein the people doing it may not intend to ever engage in certain relationship milestones that are part of the relationship escalator. So the relationship escalator is a model that was created by Aggie Says on their website, solopoly.net, I believe it is. And it basically talks about how in most of our backgrounds, what the model we were taught for relationships is you date, then you date seriously and exclusively, and then you move in together, and then you get married, and then you have kids. And it goes one direction. You don't get to stop at any point on it and be like, we're dating, and I'm happy with that forever. And so, and if you can't get all the way to the top of the relationship escalator with someone, or if you get there and it doesn't feel good, you have to dump them, break up with them, never see them again, and go all the way back down to the bottom to start with someone else. You can't like take steps back. It's an escalator, it goes one direction. Solo poly people live their lives in their relationships off the escalator. So they may never want to cohabitate with partners. They may never want to have kids or get legally married. They may not want to entwine finances. They still want to have very deep and meaningful relationships. I think there's a really common misperception that solo poly means you're polyamorous but just don't have a significant partnership yet, and that's not at all true. There are lots of solo poly people who are in deeply meaningful, committed, romantic relationships that they have been in for years and years and years. They just don't ever want to marry that person or live with them. It is not just dating. It is not just dating around. That is not what solo poly means. It doesn't mean you're a polyamorous person without a significant relationship. None of that is what solo poly means. Solo poly just means you want these deep relationships. You just don't necessarily want those relationship escalator milestones to determine how your relationships look. So I think a lot of people who are still very rooted in that relationship escalator mindset have a lot of trouble imagining a deeply committed or connected relationship that doesn't ever involve moving in together or getting married. I think particularly the closer you are to mononormativity and monogamy culture, and particularly cis-het monogamy culture, the more difficult it is to imagine a serious relationship without those things. I think that in queer culture, gay men in particular, there are a lot of gay men who never want to get married, who never do full monogamy, who don't want to have kids, and they have long relationships, right? And so I think that the more you're able to unpack, what does it mean to be committed in a relationship, the easier it is to understand that you could have a very deep and meaningful and committed relationship with someone that just doesn't involve you living together. For me, I'm solo poly because I love a lot of people. I want to have very deep and meaningful relationships. I don't know that I do well at living with partners. It hasn't worked out great for me in the past, and I definitely don't want to have kids. I don't necessarily want to get legally married, and entwining finances is not really something I want either. So I want big, deep, important, meaningful relationships. They're just not going to look the way that a lot of people might expect them to look, but that doesn't mean that they aren't deep or meaningful or committed. It just means they're different. That's a lot of what solo poly is kind of unpacking these ideas about what a meaningful relationship, what a deep relationship, what a committed relationship looks like, and saying that you don't have to have any particular kind of milestone for that to be true. Your relationship can be what it is that works best for both of you. Right now, I don't have any significant partnerships, but I was solo poly while I had significant partnerships. I was solo poly while I had 2 significant partners at the same time. That is not... Solo poly for me is very much closer to an orientation than a practice. And again, I think it bugs me a lot because there was a skeet where someone was saying that solo poly is just dating. And I tried to say that's not really what solo poly is. And they were like, just let me have my jokes on the internet. I'm like, that's not a good joke though. What about it is funny? Why is it funny? How is this funny? Solo poly people are often painted as people who don't want to commit, who aren't serious, who are just looking to date and fuck around. And it sucks, especially when it comes from other poly people or other queer people, to be told that they know who you are better than you do and they know your stuff better than you do. And it just sucks. And I just would love people to stop doing that. So yeah, solo poly. You're polyamorous. You just may not want to get married or cohabitate or have kids or share finances. You still love people deeply. You still have very meaningful relationships. You just don't want to do those things.